Thank you, Milou. My name is George Christophe. I'm a ShareFile sales engineer based in the UK, covering the whole of Northern Europe, and been with Citrix for about 4.5 years now, just focusing purely on ShareFile and collaboration. Over to you, Rune.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Rune Grønmeden. I work as a system engineer in Norway. Work mostly out of Norway with the customers and partners in my region. I basically work with let's say everything we have, not networking, no.
Excellent, thanks, Rune. So I'll kick off today, and we've kind of focused towards e-signatures and digital workflows because we want to show you that ShareFile can do more than just a fast sync and share solution. So with that said, let me just flick onto the next screen. So what I did, I put 3 kind of titles there, and it's always good to talk about the hybrid repositories, i.e. the access to the multiple repositories with ShareFile, and then we can delve into the workflow and automation bits. And also along that, and again, I don't want to kind of do PowerPoints all the way. I'd rather show the solution working in a flow. So during that time, I'll be talking about the integrations. I mean, specifically, with Microsoft Office 365, where customers have got an Office 365 subscription. I want to show how they can leverage that and use it as well. Let's go straight into, I put everything up on a screen here ultimately as a leader in these kind of 3 areas here. So the first on the left is the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And ever since, this year, it's the first time, or sorry, end of last year, it's now become the like CCP, let's say. So it's not EFSS anymore. They've changed to Content Collaboration Platform. So this is the actually first year that Gartner are now classing everything as content collaboration platforms. And we're in the Leaders Quadrant again. We've been for the last 3 years in the EFSS Leaders Quadrant. Forrester, just at the end of last year, released 2 wave kind of grids here. And you'll see here, one is hybrid solutions. Hybrid solutions, the players who have an on-prem presence. And so you can see where Citrix and Microsoft are the leaders there. Microsoft have always had the established SharePoint on-premise. With Citrix, we can integrate with SharePoint on-premise. We can integrate with your network shares on-premise. We can also put your object store on-premise as you wish as well in any data center. So we're a true hybrid player in that sense. And then we also have the cloud solutions on the right-hand side. So we're there again in the leaders, but ultimately these are the vendors who are just mostly purely cloud as well as us, the hybrid. So we're mixed in there as well. What we're still finding, and I like this slide because it just kind of sets the scene, is maybe 4 years ago we thought by this time everyone's going to consolidate absolutely everything in a single location. Don't think that's really the reality. Files are living probably in more places than ever before, and the reason that happens a lot, and for our experience from customers, is a user doesn't have the service or solution to do what they need to do for work, which means they start grabbing their documents, dragging them into emails, and sending them into emails. I still hear stories that users are breaking that attachment into multiple zip files and sending those in multiple emails so they can assemble them on the other end so they can do their work at home. Simple things that users think about because they want to work at home. They want to be flexible. And if you give them a solution, a corporate solution, then they won't have to think that way. They'll start just using it, and at least you've got a nice audit trail of what's going on. Same with Dropbox. People not maliciously using these repositories to do anything harmful with their work. They're just thinking, right, how am I going to work at home? So we've got SharePoint. It's existing in a lot of customers. We've got no network shares. Everyone's still got a file server. You think that you'll be wrapping those up. They're there to stay because some are so deep rooted. Some have got mappings inside spreadsheets which go to a certain drive and stuff like that. So to move those business functions out of a network share, it's a big project in itself. And again, I'll show you a nice little unique tool that we have to to kind of combat that and help that as well. You know, those links between spreadsheets where someone's hard coded a K drive or an H drive, etc. And local drives, that's still, you know, a problem. We want to kind of get away from that. You know, we want to give users a solution to drag and drop onto their local drive, but it synchronizes up to something like ShareFile. So if they do lose their PC, if they do get attacked by some malware, then they've got a way of going, just reversing out that version, and then they're back to normal and get rid of the PC, for example. So with that, ShareFile gives you the multiple access to those repositories. We've got connectors into personal cloud repositories. You know, we class those as Box, Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, OneDrive, the consumer version. And also we've got the corporate ones that a lot of customers have. The OneDrive for Business, SharePoint Online, SharePoint On-Premise, 2010, 2013, 2016, and network shares. So you can also leverage with ShareFile cloud storage that's hosted by Citrix or managed by Citrix, I say. We host everything in AWS or Azure. So Citrix do not own storage. We use other vendors for that storage, but we offer a Citrix managed service in that area. But customers have got the ability to do it themselves as well and place those repositories in data locations of their choice. Say if they want to keep it in region in the UK or in Norway or in Sweden, in Denmark, for specific legal reasons, and they want to keep it localized, they've got the option with ShareFile. And I put this here, and again, I'm going to run through more demonstrations rather than be showing you slide decks, but access to those corporate repositories, and you don't really need to migrate anything if you don't want. You can leave those intact and users connecting to them. And the great thing we show you from a mobile perspective is that you've got that single pane, access those repositories without needing any kind of VPN. You can offline documents securely. So ultimately when they're offline on the mobile apps, they're encrypted at rest. You can edit offline, you know, within the app itself. And when you save things, they go in a queue. And when you're back online, they go back to where they came from, you know, back to their source repositories. This in itself, being able to be flexible and working for, you know, I think the road warriors are a very good example of needing to be out on the street and accessing things in the network share, things in the SharePoint. You know, they might want to access certain workflows within SharePoint, ultimately being able to upload a document and add extra metadata attributes. And we support that in SharePoint on-premise. Small things that, you know, we take for granted, but the business process requires someone ultimately to upload images from their phone to their desktop so they can go and do that directly in SharePoint. You know, we've got that from the mobile app, iOS and Android. So small things like that from a single UI, being able to do your work in those source repositories. So with that said, I'm going to jump into a demo. Okay. So although we have, let me just bring this down a little bit here. Although we're going to go into the workflows, we're going to go into the signatures, the biggest driver still for customers as a first step to have a solution is they need a way of externally collaborating with users. So sharing outside, bringing data in, and setting up permanent spaces. So with ShareFile, I'm going to just show you the web interface to start. You've got a dashboard of what's happening recently on your account, recent activity. You also have some nice shortcuts here of the basic functions of the FSS. I need to share, I need to request, you know, two-way communication that you used to use FTP solutions historically. So if I drill on the left-hand side, you'll see personal folders and shared folders. So these are regarded as ShareFile data repositories, and they're the ones that can be placed in any data center of your choice. So you can make your own storage zones, place them in your regions you want, or you can leverage Citrix Managed Cloud. For the user, that's seamless. All they see is a bunch of folders. So personal spaces is my personal folders, and also shared folders, I will say, this is my team sites. As in here, I've got just things I've made here. Australia team, I'm just showing you here that I created a folder And I've got a business unit who sit down in Australia who may complain about a bit of latency, or say, look, we want it localized to us because, you know, the department lives out there. And this way you can create the zone, it sits in Australia, and the moment the user, I mean, I've named it for purposes for us, but this can be just a functional or a departmental name. And the person, when they drag and drop, you know, documents up there, that will be stored at rest in Australia. So, you know, it makes it easy for the users to be able to use a hybrid solution, but they don't have to be conscious of it. Admins can set that up, and data goes to its right locations. But also we have, you know, the ability to tap into network shares, and I think the best option of that is the mobile app. I know you've got it through the web interface, you've got it through our tools, but the mobile app is a good one to use it from. So you can kind of browse through your network shares and repositories through there. And also, you know, the consumer products like Dropbox, customers have got a use case to provide some of their users Dropbox, and the reason for that is their customers themselves or their clients outside of their company use Dropbox as their de facto. You know, they might be small companies, and how does your employee bring data into the company? They'll have to log on to Dropbox, which you might, you know, be kind of monitoring and locking down, whereas, you know, you might want to give them access to bring data in. So for example, I've got a couple of things in Dropbox, and or you know that your users have used Dropbox and have got your corporate data in there, you might want to give them a connector for a couple of weeks maybe, and then just allow them at least to claw back some data. So, you know, easy, a couple of clicks, and let's bring this folder in as well, copy, and I can bring that back to my personal space and press copy. So you've given your users a few click actions to be able to bring back some Dropbox data. So ultimately reducing your losses a little bit. And also OneDrive for Business. So OneDrive for Business, you know, if you're going to be using it, or you've got it in play, then ultimately giving your users that access to be able to grab documents, be able to create documents in there. I mean, they can grab a document here, and they can also share from ShareFile as well. So they can just get that file and they just click it, and it uses the mechanism of ShareFile to share it. Okay, and it copies the file over into your ShareFile repository temporarily. I'm not going to show you that just yet, because I want to kind of go back into the shared folders, and I want to start sharing some documents out with an external person, which is kind of the main use case for a lot of people. So tell you what, in the cloud team, I'll create an external customer. I'll just call it external customer one. I'm just going to grab some documents from here, drag them over, and once they copy up, that gives me the opportunity to, you know, to grab a document, let's say, or a bunch of documents, and they might be individually 100 gig in size each, but I can grab them and craft a link and send them over to someone outside. I'm going to send it to a new person that I collaborate with. I'm using Gmail accounts as my clients outside, but you know, you can lock this down just to have certain domains whitelisted. So if you want to just collaborate with certain partners, you can lock that down. I've left mine wide open in that sense. And I'm going to say just a little share there. I'm going to show you this policy for the first time, because ultimately you can set these from multiple applications. But when I show you the ones from the web interface, you'll see that it's very, very standardized across our tool sets. I'll touch on that bit there as well. We do have an encryption mechanism for the email text itself. So what happens, it will wrap that text up in an object and encrypt it. So the recipient will need to authenticate to decrypt that in order to read the message. But I won't touch on that now. I just want to kind of go through these policies. So I always email me when files are accessed. It gives me some kind of proactive notification that someone's accessed my document. I can follow up with a phone call. I've got some policies here that, you know, I can view online, or these other three are our embedded information rights management, you know, which then puts a watermark across the document itself. or a full control, so I can allow that person to fully download that file. I can set some expiration on the link, so I might want it to happen for 1 day. I might want to give that person 2 downloads on that link, or just 1 chance to download, and then that link expires. So all these, you can set, leave the user to set on this as well. I mean, I could leave that for a week, unlimited. If that file is rapidly changing, I can click this to make that link dynamic. So it goes to the latest version of that file, even if people internally are still working on it and keep on updating it in extra versions. That person, at the time they click on it, they'll get the latest version possible. If you want to just give them a point in time copy, yeah, just uncheck it. You're going to get that copy at that time, so you don't get any other later versions after that. And that allows me to send. Now I've locked this account down to allow only authenticated people to allow access for my documents. We could leave it giving users an option of those links for anonymous, requesting some email information, i.e. email, first name and last name, but I kind of lock it down so I know that someone's got to authenticate. And the reason why is that this is the person who's received the email, and it tells them you must first activate your account. Now I'm taking this person through a process of completing their credentials. So I've enrolled. Let me just kill that window, have it nice and clean. I click that file or that link, and it will take me to the page to say, well, you've enrolled automatically, please complete it. So and I'll call it a client because I haven't got a company name. And at this point, your client just chooses a password of their choice. And clients are people who use the system externally to your company, who don't belong in your domain. And these users are free users of the system. So they don't need a license. So you don't have to think, oh, I've got to buy a pack of licenses for clients, etc. You don't. They're free users. The employees are the only ones who need a license. So it's here, I get a little preview. That person's got the opportunity to either click on documents one by one to have a bigger preview. And here, and again, I'm just going to jump into the integrations while I go along, is we use and leverage Microsoft Word Online to view that document. Okay, same with any other, like JPEGs and other formats and Excel spreadsheets and PowerPoints. If you've got this storage on-premise, the storage zone on-premise, then you could provision a Microsoft Office Online server on-premise, and you could render the document in view only on-premise and keep that there, so you don't traverse anything into the cloud. So there's the option for the hybrid approach and the parity for your users to be able to click view documents, whether it's on-premise or whether it's in Citrix Managed Cloud. You've got that parity there. We also leverage that mechanism for cold editing. I guess it would be a good time to put a poll up, Malou. I think the one with we've got a question of who's using Microsoft Office 365, so we know how much of integration it's we're going to show today.
Yes. So, and the question is, are your company using Microsoft Office 365? And 3 answers, yes, no, and I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, the polls are coming in. There's a high percentage at the moment.
So, still some more answers coming in.
We're seeing a very, very high result for the yes using Microsoft Office 365.
Yeah, I'm closing and showing it.
Yeah. Okay, that's exactly what I would have thought. And there's all the quarter of the population on the GoToWebinar are not using it. I'll still go through it because I think the majority are using it, just to show that if they do need ShareFile and they need to have the on-prem integration with network shares, integration with SharePoint, that they can have as a seamless experience, because we've got the deepest integration with Microsoft as we possibly can. That continues, because we're a very close partner with Microsoft on that. So thank you for that, everyone. That's really good. And so this is the point here. I can download. You see there? It zips everything up, and then I've got all those 3 documents in a zip file on my desktop. So that's your outside user accessing. So what they do is that client, they get a confirmation email to say you're successful and you've signed up. So we didn't tell the user to go and sign themselves up in order to access the data. It did it for them. They clicked an activation link, they set their name, password, done. So it done half of the work for them, which to me is a very, very easy user experience for your clients outside. And that's what matters as well, is can they use it without tutorials or without coaching? Yes, they can. If you see here, I'm receiving notifications back as the employee who sent those in my Outlook that this person has previewed my document. So remember, I previewed the financial report. I also previewed, 2 seconds, I've lost connection with my virtual data center. My mouse is not working there, 2 seconds. Yeah, right, it's very slow. Okay, sorry. I just updated the Outlook plugin. 2 seconds, let me put that in, that's why. There we go. Okay, that's better. Let's come back to life. Update and put the latest one. I want to show you that Outlook plugin. That's my next move anyway. So you see, I've got the previews, general ledger template. Then I've got the download. That person downloaded 3 files. So again, I know that person outside has downloaded. I can phone them up and follow up if I want to. Okay, so that's sharing, but it's really easy, and I'm going to kind of quickly show you this. Is that if I want to request data in and not give people permission into this folder, I can easily do a request file. So if I do that plus button, request file, request with ShareFile, I could send that person outside the company. Now they're registered. I find them in the list. I'll call it a request link. And I'll say upload, please. So I'm giving them an upload link directly into that customer folder without giving them permission. And what they'll receive is a little link, click upload, and they can add a few pictures. I've got some car pictures there. Click upload. They haven't got permission to see that folder. I've given them access just to upload into that location. I could upload it to my default place called the file box, which is like a temporary area, but if you want to put it straight into the folder, give them a link. And it's quite really seamless and easy. So they'll get a confirmation saying they've uploaded, that it's successful. I will also get a confirmation any moment to say this person's uploaded. But if I refresh my screen here, okay, there it is, there's the notification there. Refresh my screen, you see the pictures of that. Let's have a little preview of those without having to open them. So you got the preview of that person, what they've done. You might want to say, well, I kind of don't want to be sending links all the time to this person because this is my customer. We want a place to both collaborate together. So let me add that person to that folder. This is permanent access to that specific folder. Okay. So I'm going to click add. I'm going to give them upload, download rights because I want two-way communication with them. I could just give them upload rights and view rights so they can see the content, they can commit into that folder, but they can't download anything. But you know what? I like the two-way communication. I can also enforce, if I've got subfolders down there, I can apply permissions down to a root folder down level there. I could also say you're going to get upload alerts as well. So I'll click save there. That person will get a notification they've been invited, and next time they log in, I should be able to see a folder. Okay, hasn't populated as yet. So you should be able to see a subfolder ultimately with a folder there and permanent access. Okay, so moving on. I'll show you that in a sec. I'll use another user. For some reason, it's not working for me. So let's move on to the Outlook plugin, because I think that's it's a really good way of collaborating. So once you've got data in there and you want to use your email rather than having to use a web interface to share, just make it seamless. So we've got this Outlook plugin, which is directly into the Outlook itself. It supports any version of Outlook. Allows me to then attach files from my PC or from ShareFile. But I can also manipulate the custom settings before I share anything. Now you see my account is locked down in here, but you could have a policy to not lock that down, allow your users to choose and set the defaults. But for me, I want everything locked down. I want the expiry not to have any expiry time on links. Accesses per user, unlimited. They can manipulate that as well. Once they've done that change, let's say they said, right, it's 2, I'm going to click OK, that's when I can browse my repositories. So if I go to my shared folder here and go to this cloud team here, external customer 1, I can then select a bunch of files in here. And you see, it just lists them down and it generates a single link. So I'll send it again to this person outside. And I'll call it Outlook plugin so we know. And you can have your customer branding here, your T's and C's below, any footers there and logo. So then I can send that. Also, if I want to request a link, I can do request. Then I can request files here. Again, I can set the policy, or if I know what my default policy is, I'll just click a link up here. You can also embed that into your footer of your email signature and have a place that people could upload all the time to you if you want. I can send that out as well. So you see in the background on my Gmail account, that person will be receiving the links to those files, just as I sent it there. They can download those attachments and they can view those, and they can also just download those. So we can just do some activity, or they can preview it. Opens up in Microsoft Word there. And they'll get another one as well, upload. Again, customer upload, same situation. See, I'm getting notifications that the person's doing something. Let's just upload a file, and the same again, all from Outlook plugin. So let me close these down, get the confirmation that I uploaded something, and the employee starts getting notifications that something's happening here, previewed, and also links there to what that person's downloaded. So okay, let's move on to the desktop ultimately, because I mean, one mechanism of creating documents and creating repositories is the web interface, but also people like it to be integrated within their desktop. Let me shrink some things down here. And what better place to work from than your Explorer, which people are used to. Now, a lot of users are used to the map drives. And again, this is just mapped back to my PC, but ultimately they're used to the H drive, to their home drive. They're used to S drives, K drives, and stuff like that, as what we explained earlier. Now, with a unique tool that we've got is the Drive Mapper, which was soon called ShareFile for Windows, is I can map individual drives to certain areas. So as you see how I've mapped a K drive to a folder called Workflow on ShareFile, which belongs in cloud, in the EU on a cloud platform. So that person, all they need to do is just, click on the link, click on that folder there, and they have access to the documents. Okay, sorry, it's just asking me for a login. Again, it's just I've updated everything and it's re-authenticating for some reason. But also this part here on the Z drive. Sorry, let me just kill this here. Exit, and let me start my Drive Mapper again. Yeah, it's just open up Drive Mapper, and you'll see once that starts up, it appears and it maps my drives virtually As you see here, my documents. Now, this documents area, okay, 2 seconds. This documents area, what I've done is, okay, sorry, it's gone back to normal for some reason. We're working right now in releasing that in the next, ShareFile for Windows, is to dynamically map directly to OneDrive for Business. And so this is the traditional way, which we can kind of have all your repositories showing up into, one location, from OneDrive Business, Personal Cloud, shared folders, for one kind of drive mapping. But then ultimately, there's also the case of mapping your documents directly, for example, into the OneDrive for Business. So users don't have to know anything's changed. Their home drivers maybe moved to OneDrive and then they've got access directly into there. So there's options there. So again, grabbing those documents, I've got the ability to share documents, and I will have begin the later version, but ultimately this one is just lockdown drive mapper, but ShareFile for Windows will allow you to share with different controls as well. So we're kind of merging this whole web interface desktop type of tool we have into the drive mapper, so you've got the best of both worlds here. And what happens here is the moment I access a document here and I double click it, it opens up natively in my local PDF tool here, and also Word documents open up directly into my Word, but it's only bringing down that single file into cache at that time. So it's not synchronizing all your data to your virtual desktop. So ultimately, this is really optimized for virtual desktops. So you don't have to download all your content. So if users want to just kind of say, right, just normal, as work as normal, close it, save, it goes back to that map drive, and they don't have to think, right, where is it going? They've just got their map drives as per normal. Again, the mapping directly to certain areas is really good for when you want to move those spreadsheets or want to move those spreadsheets which have got links to each other, then you can do that successfully with no problems. Okay, so that's the drive mapper. And again, I've got the option of just going into those areas that we created here before. I can create a new folder. Yeah, just work one folder, and I might want to put new content in there. And as per normal, what users do before is drag and drop, save as, and you can manipulate your GPO, so people, when they go into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and they do a file save as file open, it automatically defaults to the map drive on, and they've got the choice of choosing different drives to open data locations from, data from. So again, it synchronizes back to my ShareFile account accordingly. Same for OneDrive for Business. I can just go into there and drill and, grab a financial doc here or a bunch of docs. All right, it's going to say you want to replace because I've done that before, a few of them. But again, I'm synchronizing directly up to OneDrive for Business. You can do the same with SharePoint Online as well. And same with SharePoint on-premise, rather than having to go into a web interface and drill down. So I think that's a good time to dive in on the mobile app. So what I'll do is just quickly change the presenter here, and I'll put it onto my other device and make presenter. Bear with me. So you'll see another screen come up now. Any moment. 2 secs. There we are. Got that on there. Let's show my screen. Okay. So I've just got a mobile 6S, so it's not huge. It's not like an iPad, but again, I've got my ShareFile app in here, and as you can see, the same repositories as you saw on the web interface. I'll go into the shared folders again. I'll go into here, our external customer. Okay, you should be seeing documents be populated and synchronized up there. and I can get that financial report and have a quick look at it. And for the mobile app, I can click there, and I can also click edit the document. I can also click open in Microsoft Word. So I'll get this document and just edit within my embedded editor within ShareFile. So if you don't want to kind of take it over, some users want to use Word itself. If you've got an Office 365 subscription, you can edit with that Word or mobile app. So you need to unleash that power from the credentials, but you can also edit within, which I find really kind of crucial. So you can just scroll in here, you can just go on here, you can just delete something here, let's say, and if you're happy with it, I mean, you've got some options here on the editor. You've got some spelling checking, and you've got some track changes. And again, all these are honored in Word itself. So if you do enable track changes, it kind of honors everything in Word. But I find if you want to do some kind of quick edits, you can just use the embedded editor. So that means you don't have to exit the application at all. You're staying in that single UI to do multiple things. And I've just edited the document in that customer folder. Also, if I go into Office 365 and I want to go into the OneDrive for Business, I might want to grab a bunch of files in that folder. I might select those, and I can make available offline. So what I'm doing now is I'm offlining certain files onto my mobile app because I'm going to go offline, and they're hosted at OneDrive for Business, so I've got them offline encrypted at rest. I can also get into that document when I'm offline, do some editing, and the next time I'm connected to the internet, it will synchronize back to OneDrive for Business. So again, and then close and just click save. Okay, so that's kind of editing from the mobile app, makes it nice and easy. Also, if I go back to the shared folder, and this is the time if I click select and choose that folder, I've also got the opportunity to make that folder offline in ShareFile, but add people to that folder as well. So I can get people, I can get other people who I want to put on there. So I've got another account here, which is a slightly different Gmail account. I can say, well, this person's going to have download and view rights only. They're not going to be able to upload there. So I click done. I'm going to say added. So, and click add. So again, I can do most things which I need to do on the go, and I don't have to kind of nip out to a web interface here and access that. Same thing with network shares. I've got some bunch of files in my network share. I can select those. I can click share by email, and it uses the inbuilt sharing mechanism, getting it from the network share. I can send it externally from my network share. And I can also say, I'm going to call it NS so we know it's from network share. I've got some policies here. You see it's hardened down to require recipients to log in here. I can give full control of view only. So I can just say view only for those documents. I'll click done and share those out from my network share. Again, I didn't have to move into another machine to be able to share from all these locations. I can also offline those documents as well, make them offline. Or I can select this one document. See, when the green tick goes on the downwards, it means it's offline. I can also click edit here. What that doesn't edit a PDF, it annotates the PDF. So in this instance, I can grab multiple pages. So if I'm in a meeting and I want to kind of go through documentation, I maybe want to mark up something, maybe want to highlight something here, maybe want to put a note. And again, that's honored inside of you know, PDF readers. So I've got a note, and I might want to see what I've annotated. So that's a summary of what I've annotated, rather than having, say if it's a 100-page doc, that really comes into play. I could also save or save as. So I can just save back to this location, or just save as a new document. I'll just click save, so it saves it back. Save as gives me options to flatten the file and rename it, etc. as well. So that's all from that single location. So let's move on to the workflow stuff. So if I jump into the workflows, I've created the workflow here, and I've assigned it to an external user. Okay, that external user can access this. Okay, it says it needs to update the app. I'll come back to that. I was going to kick a workflow for some reason today. I'm having a bit of a strange one. Hold on, that's the latest. 2 seconds, and okay. All right. Let me flick back over because I want to show you some reports, and then I'll go back into this while I'll update this app. Okay, so 2 seconds. Let me just pass over the make presenter. You'll see my screen in 2 seconds. Okay. Right. Okay, so let's go back to the web interface here, and I want to show you the reporting, which is really crucial for you know, especially for kind of that GDPR requirement here. So if you're an admin on the folder, you've got the ability to view the activity log, and you can see what's going on the activity log from kind of the last week or today. We can also drill down into subfolders. So you've got, and again, mine's in American time. My lab keeps on flicking back and forth as well. So you can see what time everything was kind of accessed, uploaded, and I've got the activity there. I've also got the ability to run a report. So I'll probably want to show you that from the admin console. And the reporting is really, really good. It's really rich in its what it shows you. Let me just bring that over here. Okay, so the reporting, if I can go down here and show you the reporting, give the ability to create reports on the fly. You can also make them recurring as well. So you can see the usage, who's got access to what, who changed access, who shared, who requested, users, have they logged in, what time they logged in, and you know, some other things about the messages which are as being sent out there. So this is a real admin, you know, an admin usage perspective here. So the usage is, I can look at the last 30 days for the entire account. I can kind of do a post-mortem on a user. I could also do it on a folder level. So if I want to find out what's going on a folder level, I can have that recurring and putting those documents or those outputs into a certain folder for my compliance team to be able to access. So I'll click that, and once that's running, and we'll see that gets produced, we'll download that into a spreadsheet format, and we will see what's going on here. 2 seconds. Just, it's opening up in Excel on the later. As you see here, that's the activity all piped out on an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. So, right. So that's the auditing functionality. So what I'll do is, let me show you from here of the work we've done so far and the documents we've kind of created. Let me go into that cloud team. Actually, sorry, let me just nip over here into that folder area there where we've created. Okay, let's go to that cloud team there. Let's go to that external customer. We've got a bunch of documents. So we've got a financial report here. And with the integration with Microsoft, this does give me the ability to click edit here. So let me just put that centrally here. So you've got the edit functionality. And again, that goes to Microsoft Word Online. If that's on-premise, that will go on to the on-premise. You need Office 365 credentials to be able to unleash the editing functionality. That's not free. Viewing only is free. And it takes the file to Word Online. And it should drive my credentials straight through from previous. But again, you know, that's we can put that on the account so it doesn't have to prompt for credentials. And whilst that's happening, I'll show you the other options. Oh, yep, we're here. Lovely. So you see there, save to ShareFile, and it's the moment I start editing, editing fields, it saves automatically. And you can do co-auth editing. So if there's a few of you who want to edit together on a document, again, you're leveraging the power of Microsoft here. So once you're finished, it's saved to ShareFile, it's confirmed. That's the opportunity to go and close it down. And what you'll have is a version, the latest version, coming back down to your ShareFile account. Okay, so yeah, that's the most recent one. And if we preview that, then it gives us the you see there, I took some fields out and it was gone. Okay, but also we can also do something further. And again, I'll show you the workflows that we do manually. And if I go into this here and I can initiate approval. So these are the other workflows that we have: is initiate an approval, e-signature, and signing yourself. So if I click initiate approval, I'm now inviting a few people to the document. Instead of sending that document to people's inboxes, I'm inviting a few people into it. So let's choose this, this email address I was choosing before. I'm going to invite these people to the documents outside or in the company. I might want to add multiple approvers, so multiple people have to approve it. I might want to do sequential order there. So someone outside, maybe a few people on the inside to do in an order. Once they've approved, it goes to the next person and so forth. I'm not going to do that for the demo. It might take me a long time to do that. You can also add in a bunch of users to BCC. They can make commentary. They can, see what's going on, and I can start that workflow. Okay, so we can now see a document here, and the person on the outside, they receive a link to say the person's invited you. So let's open this up with 2 users. And now that person, you see there's a green light, so they're both active, and they can kind of just highlight things if they want and just say, a little comment then. Yeah, just a little comment there. If I go on the outside, on the other side, you see that the comments come straight up, and they can say agree, and then say reply, will do. It's a good way of just kind of reviewing something quickly, being able to get an approval back from that person. They can request changes, meaning that you have to go and edit that document somewhere, again, and then put it back into the workflow and upload it. So I'm just going to approve it, and then that person gets an approved state. Okay, so exit that, and then once I'm happy with an approval. Okay, a little refresh there. I'm going to then get a signature. I think that would be the best thing. So you see in there it's been approved. An email came back to the employee. I can then send that for an e-signature, and that's all embedded into the product as well, the e-signature. Okay, so that takes it up, it converts it to a PDF. Users can prepare their document there. Now, they can have predefined templates. You can use, e-signature for predefined templates. I'm just showing you from doing it manually. I want to show you how easy it is. Again, I can add multiple signers, sequential order, you first, you second, and so forth. So I won't do that for the demo. Just have the single person outside, and then I could scroll to the bottom and ask for a signature. So I'll put a signature field here, date field, and also I can just add a signature right now, verified by me. Okay, and then I can send that for review. So I can expire that after a certain amount of days. So I'm going to give that person 5 days. It was can put a passcode and send them a PIN code if I want to get ultra secure, but let's just keep it simple. So now that's gone out externally to that person. And if we see their email, they're going to have something similar in their inbox to say review and sign document. And if they know the document, they don't have to read it through. They can just click the red and go straight there, because that will take them straight to that field. They'll put the date in and they'll sign something there. And when they click submit, that's a legally binding document. So ultimately it's been executed. And that person on the other end will receive an email notification to say this person's executed your document. As you see here, that's the email they receive that it's been executed. Okay, so I think for now that concludes my demo. I'm just conscious of time. We're coming up to the hour. Are there any questions at the moment? Malu, did you see any? Runa?
Hi, yeah, there's a question around the, maybe a concern maybe, because they saw that you had to re-authenticate and lost the connectivity to your drives when you showed the drive mapper and all that. And there are probably two things to that, and it's the system that you're using behind here is a demo system, which unfortunately doesn't perform that well all the time. But there's also the re-auth. We can do single sign-on, right? To most of our clients and tools. So, but you haven't set that up in this system.
No. So what we do is we haven't got any really permanent labs anymore. We use our VCDCs, which are temporary, so we spin them up. You can use NetScaler, and you can single sign on all the tool sets flawlessly. So everything will be SSO, so you don't have to ever get prompted for any credentials, not even logging into the web interface. But again, I would have to set up authentication every 2 weeks. So that's definitely possible. We use ADFS as well, which can do that, ADFS 2, 3, or 4, which can seamlessly do SSO for all your tool sets and your mobile, and your drive mapper. So you won't get prompted for authentication there.
Exactly.
So yeah, sorry, that's just my issue because I've got temporary demo labs, so I apologize for that. So what other questions? Should we take it from the top, also the bottom here? Is it possible to map a drive from PC into ShareFile without using the drive mapper? I asked this because we have a ShareFile environment that uses NetScaler with a one-time passcode and doesn't work well with the drive mapper when off our network with drive mapping. So again, that will be probably a different functionality. So what we'll do, we'll have to take that up directly. It's the drive mapper can map to a CIFS location, but you can also, you can map certain folders from your desktop into using the drive mapper itself, so it can synchronize those documents up. And other questions? So we've got something about the license cost to use ShareFile, and there's the kind of 3 new levels of licensing coming out. So that's something that we can pick up with you directly because we've got some new licensing coming out very shortly, and we can kind of break down with the features there. So there'll be 3 packages now instead of before Enterprise and Platinum. We'll have Standard, Advanced, and Premium, and the right signature and the automation bits come in the Premium package. So regarding the mobile app, does it work well with an MDM? You can use the IPA and APK files to drop via your MDM solution. We already have an integration with of course, mobile, and of course we've got mobile apps on the App Store and Google Play, which are Intune ready and Mobile Iron ready. So depending on what your MDM is there. Okay, how is document package, signed package. Okay, so again, the same. There was a question here about how is the signed document packaged. I think is that in more in relation to how it's packaged from a ShareFile licensing perspective. I need a bit further clarification. If it is, that's in the premium. That will be in the premium offer of ShareFile. I think that's all the questions that we have, Bruno, so far.
Yep.
Yeah, we covered everything there.
Yeah, and I think there's just worth mentioning that when you show the sharing of a document, you created a client, or it can be created automatically. But it's also a point to mention that you can also share anonymously. I know that other systems actually force you to create a third-party client, or force the user that you're sharing the document with to actually have a user. I know that from discussing it with this with other customers, they really don't want to force other customers to, or their customers to create a user. And it might be that you're sending a document which is not sensitive, or you don't have to protect it that much, but you have the possibility to share with security and without that amount of security.
Yeah, exactly that, Bruno. I just kind of got my environment locked down because a lot of customers say, I want my audit trail to be, users' names on there rather than anonymous. So
yep.
yeah, so we'll we can leave it as is, or we can kind of lock it down. Okay, so I think that's we've come to the top of the hour, and do you want to summarize anything, Malu, or
no? Thank you for spending this hour with us, and we have done a recorded version of this webinar that I will distribute during the day along with the presentation. And if you have any questions, you can of course respond to that email, or you can contact Rune or George, and we can guide you on to who and where to speak with. Okay, great.
Excellent.
Thank you for today.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.